So I made a video a long time ago about what an ultrawide looks like when you're playing League. A lot of people complained, kind of understandably. I just kind of put the resolution on the video and no actual display. But this is the Samsung curve monitor, not the newest one, it's the previous gen, so it's 144 Hz, 49-inch curved. Resolution is 3480 by 1080, something of that. It's essentially, it's just two 1080p monitor, two 1920s in one. Essentially, this is what it looks like to play League. People are saying, oh, just don't play on lock screen. You're 100% right, but if you're a fool like I am, who spent out on an ultrawide monitor because they thought it'd be cool, which it is, I cannot stress that amount. If you want a gaming experience that is immersive for 80 to 90% of the game market that supports it, it's a pretty common thing now. It's kind of uncommon to find a game that doesn't really support it. Is the only problem with League. If you're playing League on a monitor of this size, to scroll, obviously when you're not playing on locked, you have to scroll to the edge of the screen to move. Scrolling whilst, you know, trying to play and having to flick all the way, essentially 2 monitors widths, depending on what DPI you play at. I play at 400 on everything. It's a long, it's not awful, but it's taxing to spam both ways whilst playing. I play on lock screen, and everybody's probably like, ugh, but I'm no fucking League of Legends pro. This is exactly how I see, because the videos record at the native monitor's resolution, so every recording that I have is at the screen's resolution. So this is what you see on a lock screen, bearing in mind. You can see it's kind of cheating, low-key in a way, because you cannot see this far into a lane normally at all. Like when you're in bot lane and I'm stood near tower, I could see dragon, like the whole dragon pit. It is great, but another thing about ultrawides, if you're ever going to buy one, not every game has UI scaling, which I do not understand how that's a thing in this day and age. But like, for example, League of Legends doesn't have it. It has a UI scaler, but only to a certain amount. And this is my minimap. So, you know, when you're playing, this is about default, I'd say. This is, you know, 1920 by 1080, about default range. You kind of have to, it's an effort to see the minimap. You know, you got to really, it almost strains your eyes looking that far right. So you kind of have to tilt your head a little bit. I know, first world problems, but for a game that's that popular, one of the biggest games in the entire world, and to not have a think about HUD scaling, you support ultrawide obviously because the screen resolution works, but you don't think about that part. It's kind of stupid. Destiny has HUD scaling. All the information you need is within the 1920 by 1080 border. So this is what you'd see normally when you're playing, apart from you get massive peripherals. And you know, I can step back a bit and take it off 0.5 because it's only a phone recording, but this looks and feels to play everything. When you're playing an ultrawide, it is really immersive and it is great. The only thing that doesn't really work in a lot of games is they don't scale up cutscenes, but that's understandable because that's essentially just a file that plays on the game, and it's going to be at one resolution only. Sometimes it stretches out and looks really dumb. But in terms of should you ever get an ultrawide, it's up to you. If you're trying to compete at top levels, you're trying to be a competitive Don, and you want, you know, what everybody plays with and what all streamers have. No streamer's going to play with this really. A select few, so you're never going to get really recommended this. It's not ideal. It doesn't make you any better at the game. If you want a great experience and you like looking at good things, you like looking at pretty things, but competitively, if you want the edge, it's a no bueno. But I love it. Also, be aware, the default monitor stand that comes with one of these is essentially the same length as the monitor, so it will stick out to about here each side, and it's like a giant V. And you might want to look at investing in this. Now, this might be the single most expensive monitor arm of all time. I don't want to mention how much that was, but you can look at it. It's one of the only monitor arms on the market that can actually hold that monitor and other monitors of the same sort of size, and have a completely free bending. So obviously this I can move with that arm like up. I could move it up and turn it vertically if I needed to. But just be prepared. If you think a standard monitor arm like this is going to hold it, you're going to be wrong. That is a very heavy monitor. So that's about it really.